3, 2, 1, action. Hey guys, this is Vishrut Kumar and let's start a fresh episode of NOC, which is an abbreviation for Not on Campus. This series mainly emphasizes on skill sets and niche topics which aren't taught in normal college classes. So, the topic for today is vibe coding. We emphasize on each and every aspect involved in this video for vibe coding and how you can convert your idea into a minimal viable product and make it production ready. So this video is a long format video, and the thing is I have marked timestamps for each and every phase and chapter so that you can learn and track your own progress at your own pace. So yeah, let's dive in. I'm very much excited about these series and all, and thank you so much for the support. It really means a lot to me. So for this, firstly comes the mindset. I would say mindset has a huge impact on the way you structure your ideas and thoughts. So to get a clear idea, you should try to be clutter free both mentally and environmentally. So I would say try meditating and be at ease. Secondly, a tad bit of coding knowledge does help you out. So before hopping on to vibe coding, hopping on cursor and just vibing, blasting music, I'd suggest you to understand the types of errors a compiler can throw on you before you make the big plunge into creating an app. Try a tad bit of lead code. Make some couple of projects from scratch so that you know your niche and expertise. You understand how your code works. Basically, I would recommend you is to learn TypeScript and all. And hopping on to something which is very very important and stuff. You cannot miss out on this is to actually learn Git. Git and GitHub. It's a lifesaver. You might end up in a very horrible situation where you prompt something and prompt breaks the entire code base and all. It is like that one video from programmers are also human, when this one fellow just says make me an airplane simulator and make it realistic. So on the first prompt, it is very realistic in nature, and the second prompt was just change the color of the jet to blue, and it reduced the resolution, and it was all choppy and horrible. So you don't want to end up in that situation. So just after each and every prompt, I would say you should push a code to Git. That would help a lot. You should just store your code at a place which is very very reliable. Moving on. Also, on a side note, don't push your environmental keys or API keys on public repositories and GitHub. You should be very highly aware about that fact, because I have seen a lot of cases on Next.com wherein people were amazed by the fact that, oh my god, I have got a $10,000 bill or a $20,000 bill for just for my SaaS product. You should not end up like that. You should set up environment post pushing your code, and you can do it in GitHub as well. There's certain settings and permissions provided for it. So moving on to something which is very much important, is to have grassroots knowledge on how the cloud infrastructure works and what fits your use case. Do you want to go for Team GCP, or you want to go for Team AWS, Vertex AI, Workbench, Docker, containers, GKE? Okay, throwing some words to sound smart, but you get my point. Be good at one cloud provider at least. And for a fact, just like Arch users, I use GCP, by the way. So Google, it's a humble request for Google to please sponsor. I love a sponsor. That's pretty much it. Next is draw like a child. Figma does help you to translate your ideas into a mere reality, and you can do that too, like a basic app structure and a generic flow of it. One good thing is the fact that LLMs are actually smart, so you don't have to route your way or think out something out of the box. LLMs are pretty reliable, but I would say drawing a Figma design before hopping on to vibing and all and creating an all app, I would suggest you to at least make it up so that you don't end up in a very horrible situation wherein the routing is horrible and you're just sitting there idly contemplating about life, that what have I done, what is this, and have a cup of coffee and brainstorm your ideas into a reality. I just had a cup of coffee, so I'm not on set. So I had my cup of coffee. I'm not going to be a pretentious person. I'm going to sip on coffee. But the thing is, I have had my coffee, so you guys get yourself a cup of coffee before vibe coding and all. And plus, a chilled cow playlist is a cherry on cake. So just listen to chilled cow. Being caffeinated, listening to chilled cow, and working your magic in Figma and Cursor and GCP or your cloud stack. You know what I mean. Just getting into the vibe. So that's why mentality is very much needed and important. So moving on to how can you ideate your plan into next big SaaS startup. So let's move on to ideation. So firstly, I would say translate your idea into a design. Use Figma mockup for your app. It doesn't matter. Don't have to be very perfect at it. It should not be I'm making the next Instagram or next Facebook or next dating app. You don't have to be component specific. It's just you can just drag a square and put in buttons. It doesn't need to be very very sharp and polished. It can be a very rough idea, because the thing is, you kind of need it before you start coding, before you start by coding, or else you're gonna end up in a very horrible situation, trust me. So you gotta have that structure. Once ready with a firm design, try to prompt each and every page of your design into a notepad. So about this. So what you have to do is think about each and every page, about how each and every page would interact and work out. So I would say, for example, we have our login page. How will that be? So there would be input ID, there would be password, and there would be a login button. Okay, moving on to the dashboard. How would the dashboard be? So dashboard will have a profile section, a dashboard will have change password section, a dashboard will have all sorts of numericals and stuff, subscriptions, the subscription status, and the main product, the main SaaS product would be on another tab. So you define that in the prompt. So it's okay, I want navbar should have 4 components. So these are the 4 components. Each and every component you describe it separately. So, and also do one thing, once you make this right, each prompt for each and every page, you should describe your app in 100 seconds. So it can be it's a B2B SaaS product wherein I help LinkedIn marketeers to generate leads on one click, which costs $20 a month. And lastly, you should know how your data works within the app itself, because or else you're gonna have huge time banging your heads for your allocating databases. So data flow is to be studied too. Get insights on how you will structure your data to make your application scalable, because you don't want to end up into bottlenecks. Bottlenecks are the last things that you guys want. Choices of DB schemas matter a lot. or else you might possibly end up with a lot of bottlenecks. Yeah, that's what I discovered. So try to avoid bottlenecks at a huge cost. So define it. There are resources available for it. I'll mention a couple of links below in the video description itself, so that you can ideate it. It's kind of like smart. Earlier I mentioned, right, LLMs are smart, so they might get you covered, but just ideating it before developing it might be the better option. So that's pretty much it for ideation plan part of the pie. Now let's move on to the choice of tech stack. Are you guys excited for the choice of tech stack? So choose a tech stack such as any progressive framework plus any fully managed backend, so that you don't want to get into microservice architecture unless your app idea gets acquired by the big tech. So firstly, I would tell you to have very lean tech stack. You don't want to get into microservices. You don't want to spin up Redis instances. You don't want to spin up like Grafana, Prometheus, shit like that. Postgres, an API endpoint for posting, API endpoint for this and that and all. Because the thing is, for vibe coding, microservices would actually be a bottleneck. Would actually be more than a bottleneck. Maybe it would be a technical debt, because you won't be able to vibe managing the GraphQL and all. So in my case, I choose the Fine stack. Fine, which is like Next.js and Firebase. So FI stands for Firebase and NE stands for Next.js. Simple and easy to implement and deploy on the fly. It's like either you can choose GitHub Actions, or you can just straight up deploy from like CLI itself. But I would suggest GitHub Actions. GitHub Actions is more reliable actually. The thing is, the moment you push the code, it automatically spins up an action and it pushes to prod on the fly. CLI could be a bit intimidating, because the thing is, it's very slow. It's not happening on the cloud. Whereas in GitHub Action, it happens on the cloud. So lastly, I would say, don't complicate things, because Terry Davis, Terry Davis, right? That guy who built TempleOS, he said, "A fool admires complexity, a genius admires simplicity." So the moral of this particular section is the fact that you have to have a very lean tech stack. You cannot get into microservices, but you should have an idea of that as well. What if your B2B SaaS gets acquired by a big tech? So you should know how to translate that into microservices so that it becomes more scalable in nature. So moving on to prompting stack. So that's it for this section. And moving on to next section. Moving on, prompting stack. Prompting stack, we discussed tech stack earlier. So this is like the best and my favorite part of the entire series, or this video, or whatever this is. This is something new. So there might be some irregulations, so don't mind me. So let's hop on to prompting stack. So what will we use? So firstly, I would recommend you guys to check out Bolt.new. It's a platform which helps you take a product to 0 to 1 in your vibe coding journey. So what Bolt.new is? So Bolt.new is basically this prompt come result type of thing, wherein you prompt your idea, you prompt the structure, it generates some code in Next.js or in Vue.js or in React or whatever you guys like. Actually, it should be lean at the end of the day. So once you prompt your idea into Bolt.new, it actually makes a structure, makes the file structure, it makes the src files, it makes the component files, and each and every component is defined. It kind of gives you stock images as well, if you have a lot of stock images to put in your website, so you can do that as well. So you will get instant result, but the thing is you want something which is like very actionable. So for example, if you have Firebase as well, right? So it will fail during the build. Like once you prompt it, it will fail because you don't have the environment set up. So for that you have to export the code out. But the thing is, 80 to 90% of the times that I have used Bolt.new, the code is pretty solid and accurate. So you can prompt in your basic idea, the shade that I gave you. That's gonna be good. So moving on to that, Cursor is a good AI code editor which reads and understands your code directory. So like you can just simply put in the code directory as context, and that context is going to get it processed, split. The LLM would get a very good idea on what to do next, what to change in package.json or global.css, so that we can curate to the end user. Next is Windsurf, another good product. Speak your ideas into reality. There's this text to speech feature which you can use, which a lot of web coders use. I'm very hesitant because I think my voice would be very my voice would be very weird for AI. The AI would judge me for that. Moving on to that, Deepseek, to deal with niche problems, JavaScript error or some sort of stupid error which doesn't show up on the terminal but shows up on the screen. Okay, so you cannot use this cluster, or you cannot use this index, so you use Deepseek. Deepseek is good. Chain of thoughts, just like this chain, but the chain is made of thoughts. Another horrible joke. And moving on to that, use Stack Overflow. If everything goes haywire, like you don't understand the code structure, just head on to Stack Overflow, because there would be somebody who is going to help you out. So Stack Overflow for the go. Next.js documents, or like Vue.js documents, or React documents, or any progressive web framework document, very handy to resolve problems. It's gonna help you out. You're gonna learn how to write functions if a function is not defined properly, or like if some import or export is conflicting your files. That's gonna help a lot. TS docs, TypeScript docs, gonna help you out as well. Firebase docs, handy too. ChatGPT, handy, I guess. Comes under Deepseek, so it's pretty self-explanatory. And Reddit, it's handy. Reddit is handy, but it will come with humiliation, so like be ready for that. So yeah, that's all for the prompting stack. Now let's move on to Genesis. Genesis. So what comes in Genesis? So get your notepad prompt ready and head over to Bolt.new, as I said earlier. Dump your prompt and mention the text tag you want to use for a particular project, and let it do its magic. Let it take its sweet time to make components, make source files, use out of the box CSS and packages. The environment will spin out a dev mode website which you can check out for yourself. But here's the catch: you don't have a backend. You guys don't have a backend yet. Neither do you have the .env setup. So now is the time for some cursor magic. So what you do is you export the code into the file directory in which you want to work upon. So there is this option in Bolt.dev wherein you can export your code into a zip file. So you have to take that zip file and place it in, extract it in the directory that you want to work upon, and then open the terminal, just type code dot, which is like cursor. So you'll open up cursor, and from there you can open and work upon cursor. You can do your cursor magic. So install cursor, let it adapt to your VS Code environment. Log in and set it up, pretty self-explanatory, no steps required, because it's like download cursor, it's like 2 buttons. Go to downloads, log in, it's gonna prompt you to Chrome, you log in there as well, and you're good to go. The cursor, installing cursor is a prerequisite, so that's required. Open the directory in the cursor and provide the file directories as context, and ask a good LLM. So you can use Claude. So Claude is relatively good when it comes to coding and stuff like that. So I prefer Claude over GPT, OpenAI. So I use 3.5 Sonnet and 3.7 Max is also good. So I use Claude, by the way. Another Arsenal's joke. So I use Claude, by the way. Then probably you understand what this code is about. So Claude will generate that, okay, so this code is about this. It's a B2B SaaS, it has a payment gateway, it has a dashboard, blah 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 blah. And it will mostly generate a response, correct it actually. The response that is being generated by the LLM, you should try to correct that response as well, so that it has better contextual awareness about the project. And then you make it understand the entire context of the project. And now comes the challenging part is to integrate the Firebase. Ask the agent to add Firebase data store and authorization to your application. Auth, Google Auth is very magical. You just click one button and voila, logged in. That's magic, dude. I did not expect that. So okay, horrible jokes, but you know what I mean. It's pretty seamless. If you say it's way better than manually logging in and entering your password. Google Auth is to the point, click and go. So head to Firebase, add Firebase data store and authorization to your application, and mention the rules and schemas required for database and general app flow. That is also pretty self-explanatory. And the thing is, your AI agent in the cursor would actually help you out. So head to Firebase, make a project, get the environmental variables which are needed for the overall project. So you'll get some certain environmental keys, EMA keys. So Firebase auth keys. There's bunch of 5 to 6 keys that you'll get. And then you have to create an environmental file and dump the variables. Remember that this is a secret. Don't push it to a public repository. Mention that in get ignore, so that don't end up with a huge ass cloud bill. And to just make your work simpler, get Firebase CLI for your project initiated. Just log in, Firebase login, Firebase init, Firebase, deploy it. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory. Claude will actually help you out on how to deploy it. So firstly, once you're satisfied with the code that you have, we actually built a production ready application, which is npm run build before you push your code to the cloud. So get Firebase CLI, initiate it. Claude will give you each and every step on how to prompt it out, which project to use, which directory the build files are, and then it's gonna do its job And about environmental files, get Firebase CLI for a project, okay, and just initialize it so that it reads the file and makes indexes and files tool for you. And firstly, run it in dev mode, and for that install the necessary packages via npm. So initialize CLI first before pushing it to production. Run it in dev mode. For that, install the necessary packages by npm. Get that sorted as well, and that's actually a prerequisite before pushing your code to the cloud. Run it in dev mode, and localhost 3000. Once you get it without any errors, I think you should move on to the next part. I'm also excited for the next part. So this is the interesting part. This is known as Doomscroll and prompt changes. In this, user app asks in any absurd LLM, which is like Deepseek or OpenAI, to write me a Python code to dummy placeholder data in the database, so that my database is iterated at first and I have some data to use it, like enrichment. So basically you have to enrich some data in dev mode so that you get the feel of how the app feels, how the vibes are, because we are vibe coding and all. Once you get that feel, you make small notes of it. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Once you have the usable data, now comes the doom scrolling part. Do you like the feel of the app? Ask these questions. Do you like the general app flow and the way how components work? And the thing is, if you don't like the app flow, or if you don't like something is laggy, or some component is not rendering on time, you can just prompt it to Claude. And Claude's gonna spin it up, make some certain changes in the file, and it's gonna give you a better version of it. If you see any problem with the application, just prompt the cursor, and the thing, it works like magic. So like you don't have to use your mental compute like that. It's gonna happen naturally. Just say that I don't like this. I don't like the color of the nav bar. I want it more vibey. I want to change the fave icon, or I want some certain sort of animation. I want rainbow animation, or I want a black and white shadowy animation, or I want something which is very complex. That's gonna help you out. If you see any problems with the application, just prompt it, and the changes will be made, I guess. Once satisfied, you should head over to deployment. Again, I'm emphasizing on satisfaction. Once you are satisfied, you should head to deployment. Now comes the interesting part, which is deployment. I prefer direct from the CLI, because if you're somebody new, who's not like tech savvy and all, you should emphasize on CLI. So direct from CLI, just follow the instructions. Log into Firebase console, Firebase login, Firebase auth, Firebase init, Firebase deploy. It's that easy. It's like five things that you have to write. And the thing is, just ask Claude. So if you ask Claude, I'm talking in context of cursor Claude. So if you ask the chat to help me deploy this, I've inserted the Firebase variables. It's gonna do the job for you. You just have to click OK, log in on Firebase. Oh, you have logged in. Okay, so initialize Firebase. For that, you need to have you need to have build files. So what you do is you do npm run build. It's gonna build a dot file or .next file wherein all the components are rendered for SSR or whatever that is. It is magic, It's a production build. So the CLI would guide you and ask you where the production build is. So you say that it's in .next. So .next is the directory wherein you store all your production files, and that gets uploaded, and then the magic happens. The pages get rendered, the pages npm fund happens, npm run happens. It works like magic. It kind of finds file to manage dependency issues, and once it's done, it will ask you if you want to keep your indexes or delete your indexes. Indexes are you can say it's an abstraction of a Firestore, wherein Firestore is the main database and indexes is like a child. So Firestore would be the parent and an index would be the child. So it will ask you if you want to keep the indexes or do you want to have new indexes. It's up to you. If you have data, already have data, then the thing is you should keep the indexes. Once you do that, it's gonna run it, upload it. You gotta have to wait for like 5 to 10 minutes. And once it's done, it's gonna show you deploy complete. Your website is this, and voila, you have it. Your website is on the website. Am I saying it right? No, your website is not on the website. Your website is on the web. No, anybody can access it. And about deployment, right? Gotta know your audience first. So I would say if you have an audience which is based in India, where I am from, you should use Asia South 1. Or for example, if you're a developer from Singapore and if you have the user base from Singapore, you should use Asia South and East. And if you are from United States, if you live in Texas or Iowa, you should use US East 1. Or if you are from like Japan, Asia East 2. Generic stuff, you should know it. Choose a particular region so that your end users don't face any issues while using your application. So you should know your market because it's a part of deployment as well. I didn't mention it earlier, but that is something that you need to consider. Ask Claude, like, hey dude, listen, the thing is my audience is Indian, or like I have regional audience of India, or I have regional audience of US, or I have regional audience of Singapore, or I have regional audience of Japan. So that's gonna make the changes in the Firebase files which are responsible for deployment. And if you get the hang of this, I would suggest, from my personal experience, to use GitHub Actions as an alternative prompt to make a manifest file. So in .github, it will make a manifest file. So each and every feature you push gets deployed on the fly. You don't have to, go to the CLI again, push a new feature. And brand new product, go bullish on it. Once it's deployed, now it's your job to go on the web, go on Next.com, go on all sorts of platforms, sell it, show it to your friends. They might hate your idea, they might love your idea. Go bullish on it and enjoy your first tablet. Like, hey, voila, I have my app. So you can be like, hey, I develop apps, by the way. So that's something that is to be proud of. And congratulations, you have a new app. And the last part, about feedback. Feedback is necessary actually, I would say this to you. Head over to X.com. Share your idea out. I mean, just spam comment sections. Like, you should try this out. Or, you should join certain groups on X.com. That's gonna help you out as well. Ask for feedback and update it on demand. Like, jot down and take notes. And there you have it. You are now 0 to 1 in your whiteboard journey. So it's a bit complex. You might think that this kind of kills the vibe, but the thing is you need to have structure. I mean, this feels pretty much structured to me, and that's the reason why I am making this video, because this is something that a lot of people don't teach, especially on campus. So that's the purpose. I'm serving a purpose over here, and I'm promoting a vibe coding as well. I am also into the journey, but the thing is, I am being more aware before pushing horrible code on the cloud or AI slop on the cloud. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you like this video. Please do like, share and subscribe. Comment your feedbacks and tell me how was the video, because the thing is, I'm relatively new to it. I'm relatively new to making content, and I want the best for you guys as well, and the best for me. And yeah, over the course of time, I'll try to improve my content. I'll try to improve the production quality. But as of now, I'm very happy. So that's it for the day, I guess. That's it for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And that's NOC episode 0. Until then, bye bye. See ya. It's Vishrut signing off. Bye bye.